All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, but we're also going to talk a little bit about Errol Spence Jr. as Gervonta Davis was the person that told everybody about Rolly Romero, and Ryan Garcia didn't listen. Now, before I get into that, though, let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, there was a big winner this weekend. And the big winner this weekend was the PBC, as Rolly Romero beat Ryan Garcia in the only exciting fight, or only fight that had any action on it over the weekend on Turki Al-Ashik's 2 cards. Now, I gotta say, the top-ranked card, on the other hand, the one that had Monster Inoue versus Cardenas there, that was a good fight. Enjoyed that fight. So when I say the whole weekend of boxing was garbage, I got to put Monster Inoue and that Monster Inoue fight with Top Rank to the side, because I don't think that applies. However, as far as the fight with Canelo Alvarez and William Skull, that card was in Saudi Arabia, and the trash one that was in New York in Times Square, those were absolutely pitiful shows, which proves something. And this is why I'm telling you that the PBC is the big winner in this. Turki Al-Ashik put together a card with a bunch of names on it. You had Ryan Garcia, you have Devin Haney, you have Teofimo Lopez, and you have Jose Ramirez as an ex-champion, right? Arnold Barboza is an up-and-coming pressure fighter, right? Rolly Romero was supposed to get blown out, but whatever. You have these names on these fight cards, and you just think because you put the names out there that means these guys are going to fight and they're really going to put out some energy. And that did not happen at all. It was very, 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 very clear that people came to take Turki Al-Ashik's checks, that the logistics and all of the stuff going on with that fight was very, very odd, very, very weird, and it very much could have affected people. But at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia and the people that put Ryan Garcia in there with Rolly Romero didn't listen to what Gervonta Davis said about it before that fight was even made, and said, look, Rolly Romero is the hardest punching fighter that I've been in the ring with. And absolutely, he can beat Ryan. He said he can absolutely beat Ryan Garcia. He said, would it be an upset? Yeah, it would be an upset, but definitely do not count Rolly Romero out of that. Now, in my opinion, the reason that fight turned out in that fashion was, again, Ryan's off of a layoff, and Rolly is very, very hungry and very, very focused and very, very confident about that fighter specifically. And obviously, Rolly Romero is somebody that doesn't let losses and doesn't let things like that sit on his head and break him down, right? And get him to fight and be a different person than he'd been. I do believe his last fight that he had was the loss that he had at 140 pounds against Isaac Cruz when he lost his WBA championship. But what does he do? He jumps back in there against even a higher level fighter, puts on a really solid performance. And Gervonta Davis had warned people about this stuff, man. And we, as boxing fans, are going to start having to take a look and really take stock how these fights are getting made and what is actually going to make, a card that people want to see. I'm going to tell you what I really believe is the number one ingredient was missing from that card. The number one ingredient missing from that card was a real desire to fight on the card. It did not seem like these people were amped up for that fight card. It didn't. All of the lead into the fight card was all subdued, right? That's what I think the problem was with that, is that people didn't want to fight for Turki for whatever reason, and they were not willing. They got a ton of money, and they're trying to get to the next fight where they can get a ton of money. If you don't have to win, if you don't have to put out great performances and you're able to get these gigantic paydays, then why would you risk your neck any more than you have to risk your neck? But Rolly, on the other hand, who is not on the Turki Al-Ashik gravy train, put everything he had into it, focused, took the fight at 147 pounds and did what he had to do. And that's my hats go off to Rolly Romero. This also tells you something about Gervonta Davis. People talk so bad about Gervonta Davis and who he's not fighting and what he's not doing. You have to look at 140 pounds now and realize, bro, Gervonta Davis beat Isaac Cruz, who was a champion there, beat Rolly Romero, who was a champion there, beat Mario Barrios, who was a champion there, and now Rolly Romero, actually he had beat Rolly Romero at 135. Rolly becomes a champion at 135, and now he's a champion at he becomes a champion at 140, and now he's a champion at 147. These are making Gervonta Davis's wins look a whole lot better. But the interesting thing is that the Gervonta Davis's fights are almost the opposite of what we saw this weekend, where you spend the media spends all their time building up Fatal Fury with this fight card, right? And it winds up being terrible. And then you have Gervonta Davis, who has a great fight in Lamont Roach and a great fight card on Lamont Roach, where the media tore it down the entire time leading up to a great fight card. So maybe we should stop talking about how great fight cards are, or not how great, or how great they are, or how great they are not, until the fight card actually takes place. But I'm telling you right now, for sure, Turki Al-Sheikh is going to have to do something to get these guys to actually want to fight for him. You know, you're paying these guys a ridiculous amount of money, and if they've been paid too big of checks from you, by the time they got the third check, their money is set. Man, they're not going to try to kill themselves for you or fight in some crazy way for you. Anyway, I just thought that the whole thing was funny. Watching people that tear down Gervonta Davis for taking fights against this guy and that guy, and then your guy jumps out there against Jose Ramirez, somebody that Josh Taylor sat down and fought and wound up dropping twice, and you skitterbug around the dude all day. Not the best, man. But anyway, Ryan Garcia was warned about Rolly Romero by Gervonta, and Gervonta has been, and you need to look much more carefully at the people that Gervonta Davis is actually fighting, and stop listening to these bozos that tear down everybody just because he's in a ring with it. Lamont Roach was a legitimate fighter who came to fight, and Gervonta came to fight, and they wound up having a terrific fight card. But you guys tore the fight down. So many people tore the fight card down for months and months and months and months and months, just so people wouldn't think it'd be worth watching. And meanwhile, you put this fantasy show of nonsense out there and expect everybody to love it, and the product winds up being garbage. Anyway, that's my take on the matter, though. And if you see it different, I can understand that. But look, please understand there was one big winner in this weekend, and that was the PBC and Rolly Romero. Congratulations to Rolly Romero. That Fatal Fury card flopped something fierce, and the next time he puts up one of these cards with all these names on it, don't be surprised if people don't look sideways at it, you know? But you could also say, hey, man, some of the people that didn't fight, some of these guys were young Americans. T.O. and Devin, young Americans that didn't put it out there. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.